Morning everyone. I apologise for the gruff voice. I've somehow managed to get myself a summer cold. With all the precautions for COVID, I get a summer cold. That is what it is. I've done lateral flow tests, which I do every week for everybody, and it isn't COVID. It's a standard summer cold, which is knocked me from 6 anyway. So I'm not doing any work today. Anyway, point of this video, this is a job I did earlier in the year. I think it was January time. It was at a large vicarage. You can see how big it is, and it's originally broke into a couple of jobs, which was some wall lights, which aren't on the video. They were done anyway, separately. And then there's 2 lights to go by the garage, and then there's a big security light which goes up on the house. Lots of different ways this could have been done, and the way I settled to do it, which you'll notice, is mainly because the occupiers were not so much shielding, but they were at risk of COVID, so I couldn't really go in the house very much, so this had to all be done, majority of it, outside. They were quite happy with what I came up with, the solution I came up with. They were very pleased with the solution, so you'll see what we came up with in the end. This job took a long time to finish, and the only reason for that is if you probably remember the beginning of this year, this is 2021, so January, February time, the weather was not playing ball with anybody. So given this is an outdoor job, I couldn't do it. It was raining, we had the rain, we had sleet, hail, snow, you name it, everything was thrown at us at one point. So it just couldn't be done as quickly as I would have liked. So anyway, hopefully you enjoy this video. There's quite a bit to go through. I think it's a reasonably long video. So yeah, enjoy. So here we are, we're back at the vicarage again, and we're now going to start work on the security lights. After much debate, we're going to run a new circuit for the security lights outside. So we're going to put a circuit, new MTB here, and I've already taken out the bit at the top here and put a new connector in. I'm going to go along here, move these out of the way, and we're going to put on some whisker boxes, run outside, then run some conduit along the wall outside, some black conduit on the wall, and then wire up all the security lights and the switches. We're going to have a 3-way switch somewhere on this wall, I don't know where yet, and because they want to have the ability to turn the lights off completely, have them on automatic, and also have them on all the time if they need to. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to carry on with this, and then get the conduit in, get the whisker boxes in, and maybe start laying the conduit outside, and then come back and fit the MTB. So I've already got the hole in the wall ready to put the cable in thing. So I've lost it, there it is. So we're going to put a whisker box up there, run the cable along there, in conduit down to there. I've already got that in there, and we're putting a new 6-amp circuit breaker. So just come out here again. So we're going to mount 2 20-watt LED floodlights with a PIR control, and I'll just swap us round. Right. So we've got these ones, these Brackenheath 20-watt bulbs. So we've got 2 of those. So we're going to stick those up. So we're going to run black conduit up the wall, and then go underneath there, all the way along, all the way along, all the way along, all the way along, round, and then we're going to follow the line of that cable that's already there, which I think is a telephone cable, and then the other spotlight, which is a 30-watt, and its own PIR, will go over there, which will control the driveway. And we've got a 3-way switch to put in the garage, which will control these 2 floods either side of the garage, and there'll be the flood that's going on the wall is kinetic controlled, so there's a kinetic switch to override the PIR which will go in the hallway. So we'll get these flooders up first, and then we'll start getting the conduit in and go from there. Okay, I'll just show you how far we've got. So whisker box with the going into the distribution board on the other side of the garage, up to junction box with the light, and then we've got pipe work running all the way along to there. We've got the other floodlight just over there. I've used white connectors here because I haven't got any black ones, so I'll have to get some black ones tonight and then replace those, but that's fine. I'm quite pleased with that. So I'm going to keep going down there with all the conduits. You can see, up early, no shave, never mind. Got a good haircut though. Anyway, we're back here at the vicarage and we're cracking on with this floodlight installation, which is taking much longer than I would have liked because of all the weather problems. Anyway, I'll just show you, I'll show you where we've got to. So those nasty white joiners have disappeared now. It's all conduits in. I'm really pleased with how it's all gone together. It's a really neat job. I'll get rid of the labels at another time. It's all done. Try to match it up on this side with that side. And we've got the conduit going all the way down here, all the way down here, all the way down here. And we've got to there before the rain stops play yet again. So we've got to run it all over there. But what I'm going to try and get done today is going to run the cabling which I've got in through there. I've got to just finish off the conduit inside the garage, and then I can start running the cables. And what we've got this three-way, I think you call it a three-way switch. So it's off in the centre, on, so off in the centre, down. That's by Schneider. So that's part of their grid system. And we've got a faceplate, which is for it. Yep. And obviously a metal back box, which we're going to put on the wall. So we're going to do all those. So the whole thing's going to be controlled by that switch. So the off position, off. The up position will be automatic, so the PIR will run. The PIRs are here somewhere. And then the down position will be on, which is what they wanted, because they wanted to be able to, they've got bikes and things here which they want to be able to maintain out on this driveway. So that's why we're going to fit that switch just inside the garage door. And here's my lovely wiring diagram. And now we're going to wire this all up. I do hope it's right. But anyway, so let's take it through it. Consumer board, main power going in here. That's the switch. 2 floodlights. There's the PIR, and then it carries on to the other light. So we're just taking the line straight to the switch. Then that carries on over there. Neutral runs straight through and goes through all the bits and pieces. So we've got the CPC running to all the bits and pieces. And then we've got switch lines. Where are the switch lines? So we've got a line going into there, and we've got another switch line going, split into the lights on there. So I understand that. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that was all. It should all work. I've traced it all out. It should work. I've even had a look at one of John Ward's videos, a bit of a shout out there, just to confirm that all that wiring's right. And from his video, it looks like I've got it right. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing. So there's going to be 5 1.5 singles cables going through there. 1.5 single. I do 1.5 singles in conduit. That's what I was taught to do. And to be honest with you, you'd be hard pressed to get a 1.5 twin and earth through that bend, if I'm honest. Now I have checked. I've done all my calculations. The BS7671. That's a 20mm conduit, and I've calculated with all the bends. So yeah, 5 cables going through there at one point. can't remember which 0.5 cables will go through now, but 1.5 cables go through there, and that's absolutely fine according to the tables in the guide. So that's absolutely cool. But yeah, I know some people run twin and earth cables through conduits, but I was taught to do singles in conduits, and you know, there you go. I find it easier when I'm trying to run into these type of bends and stuff. It's far easier trying to run single cables and flat twin and earth. Anyway, so that's what we're getting up to today. So just thought I'd show you how this this grid system goes together. It's really quite simple. It comes with the plate, got the face plate, and then the switch. Where's the switch? Right. So this switch, you've got those lugs on the switch, and basically what you do, it's a bit hard with one end. So that way, no, that way. That slides just through there like that. You can see the lugs, and it just snaps into place. It will snap into place. A bit hard with one end. One sec. Woo, there we go. So that's in. So you can see the lugs are now in there. You've got a handy up to see which way's up. So you've got your earth point, got your column and your L1 and L2 down the bottom there. So that's that. And then that simply, there's your face plate. That just simply goes over the top and screws onto there. Oh, that looks quite nice. So I get a label for the customer to basically say which direction we're going to set it up to. So off is in the middle, automatic and on. I think we'll put it on there. That should be the way it should work. Yep. And then all that simply goes into the metal back box. Oops. Right, one thing you might need to do is I've just noticed, this is the metal back box. Oops, and this is the cover, I've just dropped it. And you'll notice that that won't fit in there. Now, that's fine. These tabs are meant to be bent or broken, depending on the back box you're putting into. If you bend those over, that'll fit no problem into there. So, just a little bit there. So here's this new switch in position. I mean, it looks quite nice. It's not attached to the wall yet. So what I've got to do is I've got to finish running the conduit cable along here. I've got the saddles in, and then into the back box. Realised I have forgot my conduit bending spring, because that'll need a little bend in there, and I forgot to bring it, so I need to go and grab that. Run all those in, and then that's done. There's a little trick to putting these on. When I come to do the wiring, I will show you what you need to do, but these are cap screws, just hold the faceplate on, and there are other screws inside holding on the grid plate. You don't tighten those all the way. If you do, this doesn't go flush with that. So you do it hand tight, roughly in line with the line of the back box, and then use these to bring it forward. It's all nice and secure, it doesn't wobble around. But if you don't do that, it doesn't fit. So I'll show you that later. Forgot one thing. Sharp-eyed amongst you might notice these are not flathead or positive drive screws. Don't lose the Allen key while you're setting it up. And you will need torque screws, drivers, to get those undone. Don't know why Schneider have done that, but never mind. Don't lose that, it comes with the kit. Okay, I thought I'd show people where I'm up to. So here we go, we've got the line, neutron, earth, all ready to go into the box. Got the inspection covers off all the bits and pieces. We'll go through that in a second. So here we are at the switch. So we have the line going into common, the black switch line is going up to the lights. I'll show you in a second. And then we've got the earth wires there. Here we are, we've got the line coming in from the consumer board, line going down to the common on the switch, and another line will come out of there and it will go to the other floodlights on the far side of the house. But we're not doing that today. You can see there's a neutral line that's going straight from consumer board, not going anywhere near that switch, going straight out outside, and that's the earths all connected up. So let's go outside. So here we are, here are those lines. Whoops, there we go. Up the ladder. So here we go. So we've got the black, the earth, and the neutral. Black being the switch line. Going up here, there's the floodlight, and as you can see, the black switch line is going to the line on the floodlight, the neutral going to the floodlight, earth to the floodlight, and obviously the black, oh my finger in, there we go, that black is going to go on to the next floodlight on the other side of the garage. The neutral is then going to go on to the garage, other side of the garage, and the earth is going to go on to the other side of the garage. So as you can see, the actual line, I'm trying to get the diagram up. Oh, it's a it doesn't help. Oh, it's beautiful. So let's take that out there. So we've got that all on there at the moment. So I haven't done the grey switch line, which is that goes off to the PIR. Now the only reason I've not done that because I've not decided where I'm putting the PIR yet. But anyway, so the line from the consumer board only goes to the common, and it's then split off and heads off to the other lights. That it goes nowhere near these lights. So there's the black from line 2, L2 rather, heading up to that light, and it's going to split off and head up to this light. And it's raining again, and then we'll put the L1 onto the grey, and then I'll head off to the PIR. So that's where we're up to. So it's a real fun again to try and get feeding cables in there, but anyway, we'll worry about that in a minute. So that's where we are right now. Oh, just to say that all these wirings and stuff I checked on with the video from John Ward. This is going to look really good to actually show this, how it looks in practice. It had better work. Okay, so we are now wired up to the two lights, so there we go. So neutral's coming up from the consumer board, gets into the light, then moving on to the next light. Switch lines on the black, which are to the lights. So that one's going to that one, and that one heads off over there somewhere, and then that one's going back down to the switch, and then finally the earths. So I'll go over to the other one. So here we are at the other light. Here's the black switch line from the switch, connected into the light. There's the neutral, going all the way back from the consumer board, and there's the earth going all the way back as well. So that actually is it for the wiring to the lights. Theoretically, if I was to switch it all back on, they would work in the on and the off positions on the three-way. Obviously I've not fitted the circuit breaker yet, which needs to be done. However, I've probably done enough wiring there to start my R1, R2 tests at least, probably. So I might do those. Okay, so we can do our R1, R2 tests, so I've got that all chipped up there. I've done the test of the switch, and that is working fine. I have to say I haven't nailed the leads. When I do the tests for real in a minute, I will nail the leads and get proper readings. I just want to make sure it all works. So we're up here, as you can see, that switch is in the off position, and it's saying it is. And I've got the incoming line and the incoming earth. I haven't got long enough tips to get into these wagos, that's why I'm doing this way. I appreciate that's probably not the way we ought to do it, but unfortunately I haven't got tips to get into these, but effectively the test is the same. So let's put the switch in the on position. Which is up. And climb the ladder. That you can see it from there. 0.44. Bear in mind I have not nulled these leads, so let's do that now while I'm up the ladder. Just Okay, I've nulled the leads. Let's do a test. 0.05. Given the distance, that's probably about right. I'll do a quick bit of math on 1.5mm cable. I'll do that later. But 0.05, that's probably given. Yeah, that's probably what I'd expect to see, to be honest. Probably should be higher than that when I do the test on the other lights. So I'll do that now. Here we are at the second light. We'll fix that. .15. Again, I will check those readings. Obviously, we're on the far side of the garage, so we've got a fair bit of cable in there now. So it's 0.15 on that now. Let's just double check that works. Let's go and switch the switch off. Middle position, and we should have. Should have our hand straight. So hang on. Just need to retest that. Yes, indeed. That's what we wanted. So that's fine. Good. So that is all working. So if I was to actually cable that up to the distribution board and turn it on, it'll work. What I need to do now is put in find a place for the PIR. Okay, quick update as to where we're up to with this now. The sun's actually started to shine at last, so maybe we'll get some work done at last. Anyway, I'll just turn this camera around. So, PIR in, put a 3-core cable there. I'll attach that to the wall later, along with that. Into the junction box, and got the live neutral now. I've sleeved this earth wire brown. That is a switch live line. I'm afraid it's the only cable I had back at home. Probably not ideal, but I have sleeved it. I've indicated that it's a line, it's switched line. It's not an earth, it's not a CPC cable. There's no CPC into that. That's a class 2 things. There's no earth in there, so I could use that cable. So I have sleeved it to indicate that it's actually a switch line, and I'm going to connect all those up into there, and then I've got a grey cable to run, which is another switch line, which will run from the switch, and that is running directly to the PIR. So I need to Wago all that lot up, and then I'm in a position to actually, if we go into here, we've got the new circuit breaker, which is going to go into there, and I get a chance to try out my new toy, my torque screwdriver from Armeg, I think it is. Yeah, get a chance to use that. That's all set up, 2.3 Newton meters, already ready to roll. Right, so I'm going to get all this cable put in, and then I'm going to try and run the grey cable through all that conduit. Okay, so we'll just take you through what we've done. So here we go. So there's the UMCB, so we'll just switch that up. So the cables run across there, into there, down to the switch. As you can see, here's the switch, all labelled up. All about focus there. So garage floods, on is up, off, and PR. So currently it's in the off position. And just to confirm, it is indeed off. Switch into the on. And we have number one. Oh dear, that's flashing. That's not flashing, it's because they're LEDs. So they're both on. Now we'll switch it to PIR. And they will be on. Right, they're only flashing because of the video, they're actually not flashing in real life, just to let you know. So I'll just let those go off anytime. When they first get switched on, it goes through a cycle and it takes about a minute. So I might cut this video in a sec. There we go. So I'll just walk towards them, and there they go. What's left to do is to continue around the conduit, and the main big floodlight is going up there. So one thing I've got to do in documentation and on the board is that when I was wiring up, I noticed all the cables, or the majority of the cables, are not in the right places. So I've had to wire this new MCB into position 3s for the earth and the neutral, where it should be in position 5, but position 5 is taken up by something else. So rather than muck about with all the wiring, which will mean doing loads of tests on the board afterwards, I've put them into position 3, which is the wrong position, but I'll have to make a note of that. So anyone coming in after me, if I'm not the one looking after all this, will know that the neutral and earth for this circuit are in position 3, not 5, where they should be. Anyway, that's a minor issue. So yes, I'm going to put some labels on the cables as well, and obviously the client will keep the wiring diagram for all this. Yeah, I'm pleased, dead pleased. I think it looks good, I think it looks really nice. Oh, it's still going. Okay, hello again. You see, still haven't shaved, must get that done. Right, so we're still working on the vicarage. Just want to give you an update as to where we've got to. So let me just turn this round. Right, so you might see a bit of a change here. Still got this on the original lights that have been put in. We've now got this switch in place. Gave me a bit of practice to do a bit of set work. This is going to control the on-off of the main security light, so it's be off and on. There's nothing in there at the moment, I haven't wired it up yet. Reason for that is I could not get the kinetic wire switch to work with the kinetic floodlight and the PIR. Try as I might, I just could not get that to work. So what I'm going to do is we're going to get the work finished with this switch, make sure it works when it's up, and then what we're going to do is we're going to use one of the new kinetic switches with the receiver in it, replace it here, and then we're going to put a wireless kinetic switch in the house. That's for a future date. We're not going to do that just yet. Anyway, I'm going to show you what else we've managed to achieve. So round here. So made a few changes. So we're now running the conduit, so you can see the conduit from there. Running the conduit down along here, one tree, along here, and up there. It's going to go around that corner and it's going to end up over there. So I just need to attach that to the wall. Then what we're going to do is we're going to run the cables to that box there, and then we're going to put some Wagos in there, and then we're going to run the cables this way down, because there's no way I'm going to run cables up there. But the other reason for doing it is in the future they're hoping to put in spike lights on the driveway. Okay, so that means I can just junction those cables to do that from that box. Makes it a lot easier for me to upgrade this lighting system at a later date. Also, the way I've done it, if they wanted to, I could actually put a T there for another light, and all I need to do is junction the correct wires in there, so that when I need to pull that conduit back, all I've got to do is pull the wires back to there. Really makes it easy to upgrade. In case anyone's wondering, yes, all the saddles are metal, every single one of them. None of them are plastic. Just to prove it, it's metal. There you go. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start running all the line, the neutral and the earth from over there over here, and we're just going to run them to here for the time being. Then I'm going to attach that to the wall, get the conduit around there, then run the cables back, and then we'll work out where we're going to put the floodlights. Okay, hi there. We're back at the vicarage, and the weather's not exactly brilliant on us tonight. It's blowing a gale. Anyway, I wanted to share something with you where we've got up to where we are. It's not very shave now. Look, hang on a second. I'll just turn it around. So here we are, trying to get this last piece in. We've got the line, neutral, CPC all the way in, all the way back to the board. That's all done, it's all in. So we're on the last bit. Let's put this bit in. As you can see, you probably can't see there, but it's all marked up. There's some saddles there. Anyway, as you can see, it wasn't exactly, as I went to do this, it wasn't exactly easy to put it all up. And I thought, I'm going to get it up there, and then I'm going to have real fun and games trying to thread the cable. So what I've done is a little bit unorthodox, but I've prefabricated it. So there's the box where the floodlights will connect into. Cable's already done. And I've threaded the whole thing up to here, and that's what's going to connect into the junction box at ground level. Now you might think, what a weird way to do it, but I couldn't think of another way to easily do it without sitting 3 metres up a ladder trying to thread single cables through all this. I thought, I am not doing that. So what I've done is actually I've been quite clever. These saddles, and we can see them, not only are they positioned correctly to support the conduit, but I've also positioned them so that when I come and try and put that entire unit up into place, all I need to do is complete the saddle there, one of them, and just complete one of the saddles there, and that will hold it in place while I get all the other saddles up there, and it won't sag and it won't drop down. And the final thing, you may just see there is a wall plug in the wall just there, right, probably top centre. That is the holding screw for the junction box, and when that's in place, nothing is going to move that. I think I've been darn clever. So I need to do that. That junction box is where the wires will all connect together. It's also the junction box which in the future, as I mentioned before, will probably power other lights in the garden. But we're going to get that up on the wall now, and that'll be us for the day, probably by the time I've got that up. And then it's just simply getting the floodlights in, and then I can do all my R1, R2, R1, RN insulation resistance tests simply by disconnecting those floodlights from where I've connected them with Wagos. I just need to disconnect the Wagos, and I can do all my insulation resistance tests without interfering with the floodlights. And there you go. So we'll do this, and then I'll show you how it looks when I'm done. Okay, so here we are, and about 5 minutes later it is done. There you go. Now I bet there'll be a lot of people saying to me, why on earth did you do it that way? Well, that's the reason. It took me about 5 minutes on the driveway to feed those cables through that conduit, and another 5 minutes to put it on the wall. 10 minutes. And I reckon that would have been to have done that at height, on a ladder, trying to thread those cables all the way down to there. I was not doing that. 10 minutes that took to do that. I think so I'll just finish that off, get the remaining saddles on, make safe the cables, and I'm done for the day. Okay, so here we are at the vicarage. We just mounted the last of the lights. Yeah, I'm going to have to get myself showed. Right, so I'll just turn this camera around and you can see what we've done. Okay, so there we are. So we've got the PIR, 2.5 metres up is the PIR, that's its recommendation. And above it, ooh, look at that. Above it we've got the 30 watt floodlight. And if I zoom in a bit closer, is that going to let me do it? Oh, it is. There's the junction box with the wiring. I'll probably have to come out a bit, there you go. So I'm going to wait till it gets dark to try and fine tune how this is all working, and then I'm going to clip those cables on. And it's all on a switch in the garage. So now it's a case of get the cover back on and wait now for it to get dark or darker, so we can start fine tuning these lights. Yeah, so there we go. Wasn't going to show the last bit of just configuring the lights, so that's would have been boring. But it all worked. Client was very happy with it. Like I say, I expect other electricians probably would have done that differently. As I mentioned right at the very start, I had restrictions on where I could go in the house, unfortunately, so all the work had to end up being done outside, unfortunately. But I think it came out alright. One thing I want to mention, which isn't mentioned in the video, is that I'm well aware that doing PVC conduit outside and things like this shouldn't be done in a wall which is facing the sun. Now, I went with black PVC because it kind of hides well on the face of the building, but also that side of the building is facing west, so it doesn't get the sun all day. Also, which is out of shot, which you wouldn't have seen, is a huge line of oak trees which shades that whole area. That's one of the reasons why these lights were put in. The whole area is shaded, so not a lot of sun gets on to these conduits. So I was quite happy that, you know, I was meeting the restrictions in the regs about, you know, PVC conduit outside and sunlight and UV and everything else. The conduit is actually supposed to be UV protected or UV resilient, I think is the word. But even so, I wanted to make sure that that the conduit that I used would be fine. And like I say, it's a west-facing wall. It only gets the sunshine in the up for half the day, and even then it's not a lot because the trees are shading it anyway. So I was quite happy with that. So that's another video done. So we will see you on the next one.